Warning, I'm about to venture into the unknown and you're all coming with me. Now let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen a UFO? I haven't, but I do know a man who has. I want you to all meet Augustin. Augustin and I, we met a couple of months ago. He's a pilot and we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to take it gently first because I know quite a bit, not too much. He still has a lot to tell me, but we've become friends. And he really wanted to talk about this today on Soul Traveller. I was a little bit worried, but he's like, no, we need to get it out there. We need to talk. And I think he's pretty brave about what he's going to talk about. So first of all, explain to everybody, the way you explained to me, what you first saw as a pilot and how many years ago this was.
Well, the biggest one I had was actually in I think it was the 5th of May 2009 to be precise, over Colombia. We were descending. The flight was going from Panama to Cali, Colombia, and we were descending. It was a clear night, very clear night, no clouds around, full of stars, and we saw a white light at 3 o'clock. What we call 3 o'clock is at our right. I had my hands in the controls at that moment. Even the autopilot was engaged, and this white bright light started coming into us, and we asked the ATC, the air traffic control, if there was something there, and they said no. But of course we replied, yes, there is an aircraft coming into us here. We thought that it could be the United States Air Force aircraft that are based in Colombia, fighting the drug dealers and all this. So we thought that they might not be using the transponder, which is the device that communicates between aircraft, and that was the reason for not having them on the radar. At some point it came close enough and we realized that it was a sphere of light, like a bubble, a ball. It was a bright light, very bright light, that the difference that you could see at this light without blinding you.
So you'd never seen anything like that before?
I have never seen something like that before. But I'm open to the idea that we might have things that I don't know. So I keep myself open. But what we saw that day, if we actually have it as humans, we could be like 1,000, 2,000 or 3,000 years ahead of what we have been told, because this was a ball, bright, that was flying into us intelligently, slowly moving with perfection, let's say. It came so close that I thought it was going to hit our aircraft, and I was going to do the maneuver to avoid. I was going to dive the aircraft, and it was going to be a mess, of course, in the back, but it was an instinctive reaction, not something that I was thinking of doing. And exactly at that point, they just stopped and immediately moved horizontally to the front, did 3 blinks, and disappeared. That was the beginning. Of course, it was a big surprise for us. We went into what we pilots call the startle effect. That happens when you face a situation that you don't have any reference for. As I always put example as well, if I drop the pen, I know it's going to come down because I'm programmed to understand this. But what happens if I release it and it goes up? You go into the startle effect. That is the startle effect. And we reported this to the air traffic control, and they say, well, Captain, there's no aircraft around you, and we are going to report it to the Air Force, Colombian Air Force.
I do know, though, after that, didn't you speak to some other pilots to see if they'd ever seen anything?
I went into research and start asking pilots if they have seen anything like that at some point, and pilots were telling me no, but I understood with experience that you first need to share your experience for others to be brave enough to say. So yeah, I was telling them what I saw, and then pilots start opening up and say, yeah, I saw this, I saw that, I saw this.
What is the actual fear that pilots have to open up? Because I do remember reading a story in Asia, I won't say which airline it was. There was a pilot many years ago, and there's a video on YouTube which visually shows what he describes, and there are two crafts on either side for quite a long time, and he's describing it and he's calling the ground, and they're like, we don't see anything. When the press wanted to talk to them, they said a little bit, and that particular airline grounded the pilot and put them on the front desk or whatever for a few years. So what I want to know is, there are a lot of stories, but then there's also, I did do some research, and a former NASA engineer, James Oberg, he debunks every single UFO sighting by saying it's science. And he says most of people's insane UFO sightings are little more than space dandruff, or our brains misunderstanding what space travel actually looks like. If you go on the internet and social media, there are lots of people every day who see things in the sky. Yeah. And he's debunking all of them and putting it towards science. I've heard of soft disclosures. I've heard of hidden agendas. Hollywood has portrayed aliens or spacecrafts as evil or dangerous. So you went more down a rabbit hole to research this. Tell me more about what you've discovered.
About the debunker, he's doing his work, and he's doing it very well. He's part of the game, let's say.
And you're saying the game as in to keep it hidden?
Yes.
Absolutely. But are they keeping it hidden to protect people?
Well, in some way, they think that we are not ready to receive this information. And sometimes I think to myself, yeah, probably not many people not ready. But at some point, we have to face things. And it's time to get this disclosure in our hands.
But what are the benefits of us as a race making contact when, if you look at this planet, it's a mess. People aren't even getting on with each other. There's a lack of respect between each other and understanding between cultures and races, let alone other beings.
Well, but the mess, it's mostly generated by fear. Fear to so many things. Fear of not having enough. Fear of not being taken into account as a race, because that's why we fight against races. Fear of not having the truth, or the other one saying that they have the truth and saying that I don't have the truth. So most of our problems are due to economy, religion, and but it's fear overall. And of course, pilots are in fear of saying, oh, I have seen this, and as this is not within our frame of reality, and that's why it's fear again. Fear is what is keeping us individually and as humans trapped into this reality that we are having. So nowadays it's more easy. Now there is the Federal Aviation Administration has issued a directive for pilots to be open and to say what they have seen. It's amazing, and this should be shared to everyone, because I was amazed. For me, it's a before and after this experience, and I think that if everyone could have something like this, it will open our minds big time.
I think for some it will open, for some it may scare them too, because you have to remember they've been programmed a lot by Hollywood. I mean, E.T. was cute, you know, but everyone else seems like scary. But in 2019, the Pentagon military force did see it and film, and they officially released the 3 short videos saying there was something there. And like you, those pilots said it rapidly accelerated and disappeared in less than 2 seconds. And it had like, it literally was on its belly, then it went like this and was moving like a ping pong. And he specifically said whatever technology they use, we do not have yet on this planet, or it's being hidden. So you have seen more over the years. And then you have done more research. I have heard as well that they're here to teach us about technology, but they will only give technology if we respect it and handle it in the right way. And a lot of them are of higher beings of higher consciousness and spirituality, which we have yet to reach. So through your research, what are some of the things that you are learning? And I know it's through meditation too.
Yeah. Well, just yesterday I was talking to a pilot, and we were speaking about these things, and he said, well, you could tell me all these things, and yeah, that's nice, but until I don't see it, I won't believe in it. But then, and you're speaking about my research, I was telling him my research has been going in many directions, And the thing is that being an experiencer is what gives you the actual knowledge and understanding. So you can read a lot of books about the secret space programs, for example, and of course you go connecting the dots. Yeah. Because if I have seen it so many times, if I have talked to so many people that are next to me, I'm not watching YouTube videos of people. I'm looking at their eyes. I'm feeling the energy. Then you start connecting the literature with the actual facts, with actual experiences and your own experiences, and that's how you actually get confident about what you're saying.
So for those people who don't know, in brief, what is the Secret Space Program?
Well, the Secret Space Program, it's programs that many governments of our planet are working in together. And it started approximately in the 1920s, according to Dr. Michael Salla, which is the founder of Exopolitics. They started again in the 1920s with a group called the Real Group. There was a group of psychic ladies, and they were receiving this information through telepathy. And they contact beings from, if I remember correctly, I might be wrong, from Aldebaran, and they were sharing the information with them.
And tell us why the mainstream don't talk about the Secret Space Program, and why when we do talk about it, people say, oh, conspiracy theories. What is it with the mainstream that we don't hear stuff about this?
All the information is out there. If you're not tuned into the right frequency, you will never get it. It's like your TV. If you are always tuned into one channel, channel number one, you will never know what channel two is. That's how it works.
So I know over the years, many people have, whether telepathy or channeling, getting information. There is a book called The Law of One. You know, all these are where beings have channeled through them and given them information. I know you've done a lot of research and reading on this. What is the overall message or understanding that we're supposed to get then from higher beings? Because are there still good and bad beings? Because the way I feel is everyone is telling me, oh, there's spiritual information and they're all good, and are there bad people, bad beings out there too?
In the universe, are all good? No. Are all bad? No. From our perspective. Yeah, from our now perspective.
True, the human perspective.
And you mentioned the book The Law of One, and The Law of One is a book that was channeled or received in some kind of telepathy. So they are explaining us all about the Law of One. What is the Law of One? And the way they explain it to me is like, okay, now look at the cell, look at yourself, look at your continent, look at your planet, look at your solar system, look at the Milky Way galaxy. The Milky Way galaxy is one cell of the one infinite creator.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, that's big. So these beings are here to help us in this very important moment of our evolution, and what they want us to know is we are all one. They want to help us in this transition that we are living in today. They are giving us so much information about the construction of the humans, the planet itself, the galaxy, how things works, are explaining that we are living right now in the moment of choice, and a moment in our evolution that we need to choose what path are we going to follow. It's a service to self or service to others. In any case, you are serving the creator, because if the creator is all that it is, if I serve you, I'm serving the creator. If I serve myself, I'm also serving the creator. So they are bringing this knowledge, understanding about how things work from the spiritual and metaphysical point of view, to help us open our eyes into a new perspective, these new ideas, for us to go in that direction.
How do you feel now that from the first time in 2009 that you saw one where you were startled to now when you do see them in the air?
Of course, I wanted to run. I wanted to know everything.
You wanted to go on the mothership?
Absolutely, yes. Take me and come here and let me know what is going on. But it doesn't work like that. Yeah. With time, I learn in some way how it works, and it's a slow process for us to start opening our minds, understanding this new concept, accepting these new ideas, and then you are expanding your consciousness. So there is always much more to learn, of course, and it will be like that forever. But at this point, I feel very confident about what I know, and that's why I have created this group here in Dubai to teach people about this and to actually teach them how to have their own experiences. Because me saying all this serves no big purpose. It's just an opening, but each one has to go through their own path of expansion, evolution.
Well, I also believe that, you know, if you're meant to see or experience certain things in this lifetime, you will. So since I've met Augustine, whenever we meet up and I'm outside, I'm like, okay, Augustine, do you think I'll see one right now? And I just always do that because I'm around you, but it hasn't happened to me yet. Maybe they're not going to show themselves. But how would you say it's transformed your life or your perspective since 2009, since seeing that first one?
Oh, it's been a big change. I'm not the same person I was. No, I'm not at all the same person, because the more you know how things work, the more you know about this spirituality, the more you know about God, the more you refine yourself, the more you want to refine yourself to get higher truth. And then at some point things open up, and I start receiving more information. And during my investigation, I met a group called Rama. In this group, it was in Uruguay. I'm from Uruguay. And this group was formed in 1874 by a guy called Sixto Paz. His father was a UFO researcher as well. And they were doing meditation, I think, at home with the family. And they received a telepathic message. But they wanted to have some confirmation that that was actually happening. It was not a product of their mind. So they asked for the confirmation, and this being that was sending them the telepathic information told them, okay, we're going to meet at Chilca Desert in Peru this day at this time. So they drove to that place that day and that time, and exactly at that time, this big UFO appear in front of them. And all the knowledge that they have given us, it's very important for these times. To develop yourself, to enhance your capabilities, to progress in the spiritual path. So you were asking how this has changed me. Big time. Because now, as I follow their teachings, I've been able to be more in contact with these beings from other realities. And I've been teaching this to people in our group, and they have had their own experiences, their own confirmations, their own initiations as well.
And have you had any messages or information about the period that we're all going through right now? Like 2020 is very, very bizarre with COVID, financially with people, anxiety, depression, suicides have gone up. Is there a reason that you've had information about why this is happening?
Absolutely, and that is why it's so important to bring this out right now. These non-terrestrial beings were warning us from this, that was going to happen, and now it's happening. And this is part of those big changes that our humanity is going through and needs to go through. Let's say, wake up from that illusion of the material life that we were all living in. So it's part of the process of the evolution of the human mind.
Yeah, and on YouTube during this period, I've seen so many people, as they say, wake up. I can't explain that. I can't explain that line, waking up. You just know when you've woken up, it's as though the whole world isn't what you thought it was. It's a very unusual shift in perception. But I do feel COVID has actually created a lot of people waking up, because I've been watching so many people transform on YouTube. And a lot of them are whistleblowers. Some have worked in the police and the CIA, have worked within the financial world, and they're really putting their lives on the line talking about stuff. And, you know, I'm an ex-BBC journalist. You know, I've been the news journalist, and I do follow a lot of alternative news because I think a lot's not being said on the mainstream, maybe for protection, I'm not sure. But do you think we'll ever have full disclosure?
We will have it eventually, but it depends more on us. We always complain that the government is not doing this thing or that thing. governments represent people. It's in some way the image of the population. It's time for us to do for ourselves, to educate ourselves in the right direction, to take life in our own hands. And I give you one example. I lived for 8 years in Panama, and I know a lot of people there that it's struggling big time because of this issue that we are having. And I was talking to her, and she was complaining about not having food and not having a job. But I say, okay, you are waiting for the government to open up and to provide you. What have you done for yourself? Because I know her house and she has a piece of land. I say, have you worked on your land? I know you have some chickens there. Have you put them in a nice place, feed them to have eggs? Have you talked to the neighbors and made something together? Because I know where you live and I see that people have land also. It's okay, you plant potatoes, he plant carrots, and we all get together. And I think in a way, COVID has helped us into waking up to these realities, have given up time to go in. That's very important, to go in, to face ourselves, to face our families, to actually go through our emotions, those who we were repressing because we were too busy doing something else. And now we saw we were having a good time and we were financially okay, but from one day to the other, people is broke and life it's completely different. We took so many things for granted. Now this situation is showing us all those things that we took for granted. So I think there is a big opportunity for growth out of this experience.
Okay, well, I know there's a whole lot more we can talk about, but I'm going to end it there for now with Augustin. But thank you so much for sharing your story. And you need to take me to the desert now so we can make some contact.
Yeah, I can next time if you want, I can pass some of the messages of these non-terrestrial beings for your people that it's willing to hear what they are giving us.
Yeah.
So yeah, good.
That would be great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Puna.